Good evening and welcome to the April 16, 2024 meeting of the Abington Board of School Directors. I note the attendance of all board members with the exception of Ms. Fazy, who is excused, and Ms. Frazier, who will be joining us shortly. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The Abington Board of School Directors has convened this evening's meeting at the Administration Building, and the public is welcome. In consideration of the health and safety of the school community, this meeting is also being broadcast live on the Abington School District YouTube channel. This meeting is being recorded and will be accessible on the district's website and cable channel no later than Friday, April 19, 2024, to allow those members of the public who cannot participate to view the proceeding at a later time. Comments from citizens will be conducted in person and by phone. Information regarding participating remotely in public comment will be displayed on the screen at the time of public comment, and the board thanks the public in advance for its cooperation. This is a place where we hold dignity and respect in high regard. Both your presence and your voice is welcome in this space. Dr. Fetcher, any opening comments for this evening?
Yes, Mrs. Brown. Before we begin our meeting this evening, I wanted to share an update with the public. As you know, Abington School District continues to develop our district's long-term facilities plan, and community input remains critical to the process. I'm excited to announce that the district will host 2 open house and community forum events to share the results of recent facilities assessments and hear from residents about their hopes for the future investments in our buildings. To accommodate varying schedules, the district will hold the events on Saturday, May 4th from 11 to 12:30. And if you are a Star Wars fan, you will still have time to celebrate the 4th be with you. And on Tuesday, May 7th from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. And residents are invited to take a guided tour of the middle school, talk with district leadership, ask questions of the independent consultants that are retained to assess our school buildings, and offer thoughts on next steps. We hope that you will be able to join us for these 2 events. I would also like to make an announcement tonight regarding a concern a few parents and guardians and students have brought to my attention regarding the senior high school administration's intentions to more closely ensure that our students are following the previously established guidelines regarding student dress. While this is a question or concern that would typically be directed to the level of building administration, since we have a board meeting tonight, I wanted to take an opportunity to clarify our protocols for our students and families. Abington School District has a board policy and superintendent's administrative procedure regarding dress and appearance. All of our schools' dress codes must conform to this board-approved policy as outlined in this superintendent's administrative procedure. All guidelines regarding student dress are managed at the building level. At Abington Senior High School, the student dress guidelines can be found in the student handbook, which is accessible via the school and district website for students and parents' reference. The student dress section is reviewed by administration annually, and updates are made as needed. Since Dr. Swift became principal in January, she has worked with her administrative team to identify a number of previously established policies upon which she wanted to improve, student dress being among them. If any senior high school students or parents have questions about the dress code or their enforcement, I ask that you direct these to Dr. Swift or an assistant principal, as this is a building level issue. I know Dr. Swift is open to discussion and wants to ensure that there are no misunderstandings as how these guidelines will apply. In fact, Dr. Swift has already established a student committee to seek input on ways in which they can improve upon the student dress section and other portions of the handbook for next school year. She is open to listening to students and using this feedback when her team conducts its annual review of the handbook over this summer. Dr. Swift asked if she could have a moment to address the public this evening, so I'm going to ask her if she could use one of the microphones to do so.
Good evening, and I want to thank the Board of Directors, Dr. Fetcher, for allowing me this short opportunity to do so. When I entered on the 30th of January, one of the entry plan goals was to reflect on climate and safety. And the Code of Conduct, which does need to be updated. We have to acknowledge that this evening. However, I would like to say to everyone in the room that when they ask about what appropriate attire is, anything that's offensive, revealing, demeaning, bias, and unsafe, we would individually contact those students privately, confidentially, and follow up with their parents specifically about what we're seeing. In terms of the Code of Conduct, I said it must be updated, and to Dr. Fetcher's point, within 48 hours, 20 students reached out to me specifically asking to be a voice at the table of all backgrounds, all diversities, all gender identities. And so I'm very happy about that. That's a testament to the work that students want to do for the school. In terms of any misconceptions, the only aspect that's been addressed about the code is about the dress. Dr. Swift nor any employee in the school has said anything about jewelry, summer shorts, necklaces and things like that that have come forth to the board, to Dr. Fetcher, Dr. Melkor, my supervisors. And I want to assure everyone that these are baby steps. But the biggest part of this speaks to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that I would never, ever, as principal, parent, and former graduate of this district, impose anything that would violate the civil rights of students in our schools and in any school. And to Dr. Fetcher's point, please contact me specifically or anyone on the grade level team. And also, the PTO meeting is Thursday in the library at 6 o'clock for the parents that are listening here and those that are listening online. So we welcome your voices there on Thursday evening as well to get more work to get this done. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That's all I have at this time.
Thank you, and thank you for your leadership, both of you. Thank you for your leadership. I definitely appreciate it, and I know our students will benefit from it. At this time, any additional items to be brought up from my fellow board members? Okay, if not, we'll open up with opening comments. Mr. Allen?
Nothing, thank you.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Good evening, all, and welcome.
Dr. Mowry?
I actually have two things I want to say. So the first is I want to, my dad was fond of observing that when you're faced with a practical problem, you should look for a practical solution. And so I want to congratulate Dr. Swift for coming up with an eminently practical solution, one that is inclusive of the students. And I'm proud of our students for stepping forward and wanting to be part of the solution. The other thing I wanted to open with today is that, excuse me, when I got back from campus last Monday, as the eclipse was reaching its peak point for us, I got out of my car and I heard the most wonderful, joyous noise at Highland Elementary School from all the students who were out in the playing fields with the glasses that the district delivered to them, watching in amazement an event that none of us will see for another 2 decades. So I wanted to thank Dr. Fetcher for investing in our students and for using this remarkable opportunity as a teachable moment, because from what I heard across the street, the kids really loved it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Ms. Spalding?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Muhammad?
Good evening, everyone.
Ms. Hartman?
Good evening, everyone.
Dr. Fetcher?
Good evening. Thank you for coming out. I think we're excited to see our students, and honor some of them for awards and what they've accomplished.
Definitely, I'm excited as well. Dr. Fetcher, we can proceed with the student council representatives.
From Abington Senior High School, I'm going to ask Jonah Campbell to come forward.
Good evening, Dr. Fetcher, Mrs. Brown, and members of the Board of School Directors. My name is Jonah Campbell, and I'm the president of the Student Council Executive Board in the high school. This month, we have had some exciting things happening. On March 16th, we held our annual sophomore formal dance, the Soft Hop. Our sophomores came out in their best attire and had a blast. On March 22nd, we held our annual Mini-thon event, a fundraiser for pediatric cancer. Hundreds of students came out and participated, and together we raised $58,000. Congratulations and thanks to those who participated. Abington's National Honor Society participated in a community service project where students built and decorated spring baskets filled with candy and hollow eggs, which each contained a positive message from the students. Each basket was delivered to the Rydell Park retirement community. Thank you to the NHS students who participated in this amazing project. Our girls flag football team started off their season with a 21-0 win against Central Bucks West. Congratulations to them. Our girls lacrosse team has a record of 5 wins and 3 losses. Their next game is tomorrow versus William Tennant. Best of luck to them. On April 16th through the 24th, Abington students will host a visiting French group as a part of the International Cultural Exchange Program. This program includes exchange students staying in the Abington students' homes for 2 weeks. We look forward to welcoming and hosting them. On April 6th and 7th, the Abington chess team competed in the United States Chess Federation's high school championship in Baltimore. Our 2 teams placed second overall in their respective divisions. Congratulations to them. The Student Council successfully held our annual blood drive in the auxiliary gym on April 4th. Student Council has been hosting this blood drive for the past 40 years as it is one of Montgomery County's largest student-run blood drives. Many students and faculty members came to donate blood to a good cause. We surpassed our goal of 74 units of blood. Each unit has the potential to save 3 lives. Thank you to all of those who donated. As the 4th marking period opens, students are looking forward to a long summer break, and our seniors are looking forward to graduation and beyond. Respectfully submitted, Jonah Campbell.
Thank you very much, Jonah. At this time, I'm going to ask Ariana Hernandez to come forward from Abington Middle School.
Jonah, before you leave, I just wanted to say, I'll write it. I'll send it in an email.
Good evening, Mrs. Brown, Dr. Fetcher, and members of the Board of School Directors. I'm Ariana Hernandez, and I'm on the Executive Board of the Student Council for Abington Middle School. During March, TATA took 120 7th and 8th graders students to Bolero for an evening of bowling, arcade games, and pizza. In April, we look forward to hosting the unique board game event, as well as our annual extravaganza event. 12 AMS students represented AMS at the PMEA District 11 Junior High Song Fest at Sandy Run Middle School on Thursday, April 4th. Students worked ahead of time to learn their music and performed with students from Palisades, Colonial, Upper Dublin, Upper Perk, and Cheltenham, under conductor Dr. Joy Hirokawa. The students made us very proud with their preparation and beautiful music making for the community. Those students are Amber Gray Jones, Izzy Smith, Anna Colt, Sienna Davis Green, Kira Rowe, Kira Huck, Cam King, Natasha Talley, Dexter Peoples, Aleem Ribeiro, Milo Ribeiro, and Kyrie Grimes. In April, students added academic vocabulary to their ASL knowledge. ASL club members can now tell you their favorite school subjects. We also played a fun game to test our expressive and receptive skills. On Friday, April 5th, author Matt Landis visited Abington Middle School for the day. He held 5 large group assemblies where he spoke with all of our 6th and 7th grade students about his life, writing journey, and how failure made him grow. He also conducted a writing workshop for 25 of our 8th grade students, where he taught them how to write a hook to get the reader's attention. He was highly energetic, very engaging, and the students and staff had a great time. Many members of the GSA, along with some of our other students in the school, participated in the Day of Silence on Friday, April 12th. This student-led protest draws attention to the problems the LGBTQIA people face. Students participated in the 2024 March Mammal Madness Tour. Students researched the animals and the environments they were competing in before filling out their brackets. We have also been working on the flower beds located at the front of the middle school. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sounds like a lot's still going on in both of the buildings. Exciting, and I am just proud of the passion that our students bring to different activities and causes as well. So I'm just really happy to be able to hear that this evening, and a lot of work goes into that in support of our students. So I thank those staff members who were involved in supporting those activities as well.
Indeed. Dr. Fetcher, please proceed with this evening's honors.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. First, I'm going to ask Ms. Ali Artur, Communications Coordinator, to share videos highlighting recent media coverage of Abington School District.
Good evening, Dr. Fetcher, Mrs. Brown, and members of the board. At the end of the month of March, the Buddies Club at Abington Middle School celebrated the annual Buddy Walk, which is held each year on World Down Syndrome Day. This is the 7th annual Buddy Walk event, which is organized each year to promote inclusion, and it even took place virtually during the pandemic. The event was covered by 6 ABC. Additionally, the station aired a feature story about the homecoming of Corporal Hector Aviles, a U.S. Marine and 2018 graduate of Abington Senior High School, who surprised his little sister Mariah at Rydell Elementary School last week after being stationed overseas in Okinawa, Japan. Please enjoy the clip.
Students and staff at Abington Middle School buddied up today to show their support for World Down Syndrome Day. This afternoon, they took part in the school's 7th annual Buddy Walk. All this a way to celebrate their differences while promoting inclusion. This day is observed on 3/21 to signify the uniqueness of the triplication of the 21st chromosome, which is the cause of Down syndrome. Marine has spent much of the past couple of years across the world in Japan, but today, if only for a moment, he came back home to the surprise and enjoyment of his little sister.
Don't we love these?
Yeah.
Action News community journalist Mateo Iadenisi has the heartwarming surprise in Huntington Valley.
Hi, baby. It's okay, it's okay. Please scare me.
I love my hero, my brother. I'm proud of him because he's saving the world, and I'm just happy for him. How could I not cry? I thought it was just going to be a normal day. My brother came to see me, and I'm so happy.
I missed you so much.
I missed you, too.
My name is Hector Aviles. I'm a United States Marine. So I've been in Okinawa, Japan for about 2.5 years. It's been difficult being away from family.
This is my brother. This is me, my mom, my sister, and my brother.
I've been home about 3 times, once in the summer, once for Thanksgiving, and now. You got a show coming up?
Wait, is he going to be here for my show? He's not.
I don't run my own time. Today I came to my little sister's school, Rydell, and I came here as a student as well for 5th and 6th grade. The lockers are like this tall now. I remember them being like this. She was so surprised, and she just came running to me, and I felt overjoyed. I wanted to cry. I like your shirt.
Thank you.
That's supposed to be me?
Yeah.
You know, it hurts being far from my family, and I love my family a lot. They're everything to me. I lost my father before I was even born. Same age I was when I joined the Marine Corps. I was 21, he was 21. People don't realize how important family is until you don't have it anymore. And I look forward, after me going back to Japan, finishing my tour.
It's good to see you.
Coming back home to another station, at least somewhere closer, and being near them and taking care of them. They took care of me, and now it's my turn. Thank you.
That moment of the two of them walking down the hallway,
I'm
telling
so
them how
glad
much they
she got
missed
to
each other,
see him.
just extraordinary.
Thank you. Continue with the honors.
I just want to say, how can I not cry? Seriously, I'm sorry. Yes.
All right. At this time, I'm going to ask Dr. Swift to come forward to introduce our Abington Senior High School student, Lily Devlin, the April 2024 Student of the Month at Eastern Center for Arts and Technology. Dr. Swift.
Thank you and good evening, and I concur, thanking him for his service. Amazing testament. Whew, okay, Lily Devlin, who is the April 2024 Student of the Month at Eastern Center for the Arts and Technology. Lily is being recognized for her outstanding work in Eastern's design, photography, and illustration program. At Eastern, Lily serves as the Occupational Advisory Committee student representative for the Design, Photography, and Illustration program, providing a valuable student perspective on curriculum and program issues. In February of 2024, she was nominated by Eastern as a Presidential Scholar and was selected by the White House Commission on the Presidential Scholars and the United States Department of Education as a candidate for the United States Presidential Scholars Program in the Career and Technical Education. In February, she also received a silver medal at the Skills USA District Competition in CTE Demo. Lily has earned Adobe InDesign and Illustrator certifications, through the Eastern program, which are standard in graphic design industry. At Eastern's 2023 Awards Night, Lily was awarded free tuition to an art camp at Penn College of Technology. After graduation from Abington Senior High School and Eastern, Lily plans to attend Thomas Jefferson University for a bachelor's degree in graphic design and then to pursue a career in that industry. The Student of the Month Award is sponsored by Eastern's Faculty Joint Operating Committee and the Willow Grove Rotary Club to highlight student excellence, success, and service. And Lily, that is exactly what you have done. If you could join us up here. Thank you so much. Should I stay? Because we're doing athletics next.
Yes, if we could just address Lily for a moment. Lily, your resume reads as if you are already established and in your field, and to have such a great start, the sky is, your limits are beyond the sky, so shoot for the stars, okay? I'm very proud of you. Great job.
Okay. We moving to Mr. Grassi. Did you want to come up? That's next, yes. At this time, we're going to recognize the Abington Senior High School winter sports and athletes. And I would like to introduce Mr. Grassi. If you don't know who he is our athletic director.
Thank you. Ms. Brown, if you would like to join us.
Yes, please.
Good evening, Dr. Fetcher, Ms. Brown, and members of the Board of School Directors. Tonight, I am very excited and proud to share the outstanding accomplishments of our student athletes, teams, and coaches in the winter of 2023-2024 season. I would like to first introduce Abington Boys and Girls Swimming, who is led by Coach Joe Lenning. The Abington Boys and Girls Swim Team had an outstanding meet in the PIAA District 1 Qualifying Championship as they set 5 new school records. The records were set in the 200 medley relay, which consisted of Colin Nash, John Franchetti, Alex Pasquarello, and Brendan Moe. The 200 free relay with Mike Filimonov, Jack Campbell, Brendan Moe, and Colin Nash. The 200 IM by John Franchetti, the 100 back by Colin Nash, and the 100 breast by John Franchetti. The boys also had 8 athletes receive all league honors. First team honors in the 200 free relay were Nazari Kostyuk, Denis Shegadevich, Jack Campbell, Mikhailo Filimonov, and Brandon Moe. John Franchetti, Jack Campbell, Mikhailo Filimonov, and Brandon Moe also received first team all honors in the 400 free relay. Second team honors were awarded to John Franchetti, Alex Pasquarello, and Colin Nash in the 200 medley relay. John Franchetti also received second team in the 200 IM. Alex Pasquarello received second team all-league in the 100 fly, and Colin Nash was second team all-league in the 100 back. The 2023-24 team were also PIAA state quarterfinalists. Congratulations to our boys swim team for an exciting season. Next, I would like to recognize the Abington girls swim team, who was also led by Joe Lennon. The Abington girls swim team also had a very successful outing at the PIAA District 1 Championship, as they themselves set 4 new school records. These records include the 200 medley relay, which consisted of Ruby Tucker, Julie Chong, Tierney Hill, and Autumn Jessup, with a time frame of 1 minute and 49 seconds. The girls swim team also set a school record in the 200 free relay by Ruby Tucker, Olivia Kraft, Olivia Capps, and Autumn Jessup. Ruby Tucker set a new record in the 100 back with a time of 57.63. Also, our girls set the school record in the 400 free relay with a time of 3 minutes and 42 seconds. Autumn Jessup, Olivia Capps, Tierney Hill, and Ruby Tucker are our new record holders in this event. The girls swim team also received honorable mention all-league recognition in the 200 medley relay by Autumn Jessup, Julie Chong, Tierney Hill, and Ruby Tucker. Congratulations to our girls swim team, as well as Coach Lennon, for an outstanding, fun, and exciting season. Next, I would like to recognize our boys basketball team, Coach Dan Marsh and Coach Gary Massey. The Abington boys basketball team finished their season with an impressive 18-7 record and finished third in the Suburban 1 Liberty Division. The team made their 13th straight District 1 playoff appearance. Abington boys basketball advanced to the semifinals of the Suburban 1 League Championship with a convincing win in the first round. 3 members of the boys basketball team were recognized for their accomplishments. Paul Glantz was honorable mention All-League, Aaron Jones was second team All-League, and Jeremiah Lee was nominated first team by the opposing coaches in the Liberty Division. Jeremiah Lee also reached the esteemed 1,000 point club during the first round of the PIAA District 1 playoffs. Jeremiah is one of 30 basketball players in Abington history to receive this prestige honor. We would like to congratulate the entire basketball team, as well as Coach Marsh and Coach Massey, for an outstanding season. Thank you. Next is our girls basketball team, accompanied by Coach Lawson and Coach Hoff. Girls basketball finished the season with an overall record of 19-7 and an impressive 13-2 record in the Liberty Division. Led by first-year head coach at Abington, Allison Lawson, her team made it to the district playoffs and won a first-round game with an impressive score of 48-37. 5 players received all-league honors this season for their stellar play. Sarah O'Leary and Jordan Reynolds both received all-league honorable mention. Micaiah Durham received second-team all-league. Maya Johnson and Piper McGinley both were selected to the first-team all-league Liberty Division. Congratulations to Coach Lawson, staff, and players for an exciting and successful season. Thank you. Next, I would like to recognize our wrestling team. The wrestling team had a successful season led by coaches David Osei, Keyshawn Gilmo, and Dominic Colon. They finished their season with a record of 12-6 and had a number of wrestlers receive all-league recognition. Nathan Sanders, Solomon Wesley, and Elijah Brown were honorable mention all-league wrestlers. Ryan Solomon was second-team all-league, and Robert Hessman, Dylan Kiesling, John Kaplan, John Wright, and Gracie Clift were voted first-team all-league members. Robert Hessman, Dylan Kiesling, Nathan Sanders, Solomon Wesley, and John Wright were sectional and regional qualifiers. Gracie Clift was also a District 1 and state qualifier, our first in Abington history. Wow. Congratulations to our wrestling team for an outstanding season. Next is our cheerleading, led by Coach Kristen Barron. The 2023-2024 cheerleading team had several accomplishments this season. While in its first year competing in the most competitive division in high school cheerleading, they had 4 top 3 finishes, 1 first place finish, 2 second place finishes, and 1 third place finish. They also earned a bid to the PIAA State Championship in Hershey, PA. The cheerleading team also earned a bid to the UCA Nationals in Orlando, Florida, while ending strong with 0 deductions in both of their routines. While at Nationals this season, people from various parts of the United States recognized and remembered our cheerleading team due to their distinct cheer and their consistent progress over the past few years. A quote from their coach: "Having people from all over the United States recognize Abington and remember us is very exciting." With us tonight in attendance, we have Isabella Ospina, Catherine Ospina, Kaylee Ramsey, Molly McCormick, Micaiah Brown, Siani Ford, Stephanie Park, Sophia Bergeson, Sophia Venango, Veronica Mojica, and Samantha Morton. Congratulations to our cheerleaders and the coaching staff for an outstanding season. Thank you. Next, we would like to recognize our boys and girls indoor track led by Coach William Neely and Anthony Parker. Boys and girls indoor track, led by coaches William Neely and Anthony Parker, had a very successful season and continues to build as a wonderful program. The boys had 10 PIAA state qualifiers. These athletes include Luke Coleman, Evan Diaz, Chase Ely, Peter Murray, Tyler Kwan, Timothy Brown, Anthony D'Angelo, Braden Davis, Jameer McClinton, and James Stewart. Congratulations to our medal winners at Penn State University. Luke Coleman placed 4th with a time of 48.85 and is currently ranked number 3 in the entire state of Pennsylvania and number 32 in the United States.
Wow.
Peter Murray placed 7th with a time frame of 1 minute and 55 and is currently ranked number 8 in Pennsylvania and 54 in the entire United States. The 4x800 relay consists of Chase Ely, Tyler Kwan, Evan Diaz, and Peter Murray, placed 6th in Pennsylvania with a time of 7 minutes and 57 seconds. Also, the 4x4 relay placed 7th in the state with a time of 3 minutes and 23 seconds. The team members were Luke Coleman, Anthony D'Angelo, Evan Diaz, and Jameer McClinton. Thank you for a wonderful and outstanding season. And now we would like to congratulate our boys bowling as well as girls bowling team. Abington boys bowling finished the season with an overall record of 32-24 and 7-5-2 in the Liberty division. The girls finished 20-36 overall, 3-7-4 in the Liberty League. Rogan Anderson and Dion Hunter both received second team all-league honors. Dion finished 6th in the league with an average of 199, my overall high. That is the second highest average in Abington since 2002. Dion also finished in 17th place out of 170 bowlers at the Eastern Regional Tournament. The previous high for a male bowler at Abington in the history of the bowling program was 59th. Congratulations to our 2023-2024 boys and girls bowling team, as well as Dion Hunter.
Oh.
And finally, I would like to thank you for your continued support for our Abington student athletes. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to say congratulations to our student athletes and thank our parents and families for the support that it takes for them to be successful in the partnership with Abington School District and our sports program. So thank you very much, and thanks for coming out this evening.
Thank you, and congratulations again to our student athletes and being able to balance both of those things. Dr. Fetcher, please proceed with this evening's orientation.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Tonight, Mr. Lionetti, Mr. Vittoria and I will present an update of the 2024-2025 draft general fund budget. There's no action this evening on the agenda, but we just would like to provide just an update. Mr. Lionetti?
Thank you, Dr. Fetcher. The budget schedule that was presented to the board at its December 12th meeting included an update to revenue and expenses for this evening's meeting as we work towards presenting and adopting a 2024-2025 proposed final budget at the May 14th meeting and adopting a final general fund budget at the June 25th meeting. The draft budget is unchanged from our last update on February 27th. However, the business office has received from our budget managers their budget requests. We are reconciling the budget request to the draft budget in order to produce a proposed final budget that is reflective of our educational, programmatic, and support department needs. Page 2 of the presentation revisits the assumptions by which we are preparing the 2024-25 general fund budget. The draft budget includes a proposed 5.3% increase of our tax millage rate. In June, we will receive the Montgomery County, Abington, and Rockledge assessed value of taxable real estate. The assessed value of real estate is impacted positively by growth and redevelopment in the community and is negatively impacted by assessment appeals such as evidenced in this evening's agenda item 12.1. The proposed final budget will include updated local revenue projections, if necessary, for such items such as earned income taxes, real estate transfer taxes, and earnings on investments. Our state revenue budget includes Governor Shapiro's education positive subsidy estimates, although the state has until the end of June to make its final subsidy determinations. We will have a better idea of PDE subsidy amounts in June, as June approaches and budget negotiations between the legislatures begin to wind down. In May, PDE will release information regarding property tax relief for homesteads, for which we will provide a budget update at the May 28th board meeting that incorporates PDE's figures into the proposed final budget. We anticipate receiving federal funding data prior to our May 14 proposed final budget presentation, which includes financial assistance title programs and special education access funding amounts. With regard to expenses, the budget includes staff salaries and wages that are reflective of current collective bargaining agreements, as well as up-to-date information regarding negotiated and mandated benefits. As I previously stated, the business office is reconciling department budgets in anticipation of the adoption, asking the board to adopt the budget at our first May meeting. The draft budget reflects a 6% increase in local revenue, which is driven mostly by the 5.3% increase in real estate millage rate. We have an 8% increase projected in state revenue, which is driven by the subsidy dollars that are reflective of Governor Shapiro's budget, as well as increased support due to the increased salaries and wages projected of funding for 50% share of mandated benefits such as our retirement fund and Social Security. Federal revenue, we're seeing a decrease of about $1.75 million. This is due to the fact that we are liquidating the ESSER's funds, the federal money that came in support after the pandemic. Those resources will be liquidated by the end of this school year, so we're seeing a reduction from prior years. With regard to expenses, we have just about a 3.5% increase in salaries and wages, a large over an 11% increase in negotiated benefits, which is mostly driven by the cost of healthcare for our staff, mandated benefits, 3% increase, and almost a 4% decrease, or $1.5 million in the non-salary, non-benefit items. With this proposed budget, we are seeing support to the tune of $6.9 million of allocated fund balance, which is a significant change from the $11.8 million for the current year, which is a change of just under $5 million. I'm going to turn the presentation over to Mr. Vittoria at this time to complete the presentation.
So this slide shows the impact on a typical assessment of $141,130, increasing the millage to 37.07%. This assessed property would see an increase of $262.50, which is a 5.2% increase. But because the Sterling Act tax credit is expected to decrease $3, the overall impact on this assessment would be $265.50, which is a 5.73% increase. The bottom portion of the slide shows the impact on the seniors who qualify for the Abington School District rebate program. Seniors who fall in the first two income levels would not see a tax increase, and seniors who fall in the bottom two income levels would see an increase between $81.50 and $113.50. Looking forward to the May 14th meeting, the board will be asked to pass 3 resolutions. The first is to adopt the 24-25 proposed final general fund budget. The second is the intent to adopt the final general fund budget on June 25th. And the third is to authorize the advertisement of the board's intent to adopt the general fund budget on June 25th. The proposed final general fund budget that will be presented will be in the approved PDE format. The resolutions at the May 14th meeting meet the May 31st deadline in which school districts need to approve the proposed final general fund budget, the June 10th deadline to make the proposed final general fund budget available to the public for inspection, and the June 20th deadline to make the public notice of the board's intent to adopt the final general fund budget. We will also have homestead and farmstead tax relief resolutions prior to the June 30th deadline. And I want to go back, I forget one. At the May 14th meeting, sorry about that, May 14th meeting, we will bring to the board an authorizing resolution for the 24-25 senior rebate program. Dr. Fetcher, that concludes our presentation, and we can answer any questions that the board might have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Your mics are open.
So I would just like to thank the administration for going over and above of the requirement for posting and discussing the budget through the budget process. That is appreciative for the community at large to have opportunities to listen to you talk about the proposed for the future. Also with that, just recognizing that we're not voting on any particular tax increase right now, and I know that you had specifically said that this is a non-voting issue, but just for the community listening, we're not voting on a tax increase tonight. The numbers proposed are just saying that hypothetically, if we were to go to Act 1. And also, for my own edification, Dr. Fetcher, would it be correct in me saying that you're still working with your administration to see the use of fund balance and to what this looks like through the next few months until June? Hopefully that the use of fund balance will decrease, not just by cost-saving issues or cost-saving matters, but also if the governor gives more in basic ed, that will help offset and decrease some of the fund balance usage. Because we know fund balance is a major contributor to our rating for bonds and our ability to get financing for a middle school project, refresh, whatever that is.
Yeah, you are correct, Mr. Allen. We have worked as an administrative team throughout this year to monitor expenses as well as to monitor areas where there can be some cost avoidance in order for that very purpose. And we are doing that as well in building the budget for next fiscal year as well. But we have been looking at every area that we can possibly find a cost avoidance. And when there are changes, one big example is when there's a change in a position. For instance, if someone retires or moves to a different position, we evaluate that position and look at that position for whether or not we can reshape that, absorb it, or anything of that sort.
All right, thank you. And totally, is something different with the sound system tonight?
I was going to say that.
Like I'm hearing,
It's enhanced.
Yes, this is a new sound system.
I don't like how I speak. I'll just talk loud.
It's very sensitive. It's crisp.
There are returns on every investment.
Touche. Yeah, that's maybe I'll have to talk more in practice with the
Any additional questions or comments from my fellow board members?
Nice one.
Thank you for that orientation. Dr. Fetcher, does that conclude our orientations for this evening?
It does, yes.
Thank you. We'll move forward with comments from citizens. Comments from citizens is being conducted both in person and by phone. The phone number to participate in public comment is 267-715-3717 and is featured on the screen at this time. If you are within the building, please be sure to state your name and address at the mics to either side of you. Hello.
Good evening. My name is Mike Pinkowitz. I live at 2971 Grisdale Road in Roslyn. I'm coming here tonight just to share with you an incident that happened. My wife and I were here in January. We requested and we spoke with an associate of the Assistant Superintendent's office to have the bus stop moved at Grisdale and Green. And after it was all over, we went home, and for a month, we waited. There was no acknowledgement that we were even here, let alone what was going to be done. Waited the month, called again at the end of February, and I was assured again that this would be taken care of. And now we are in April. I have heard nothing concerning this. Now, just to give you a bit of context, my wife and I have lived at that address for 32 years. We have no children. We have no grandchildren who have attended Abington, nor have we been employed here. So after all of this, we have requested that the bus stop be moved. I have been retired for 12 years. And I can assure you that that bus stop has been there for at least 12, more like over 17. And it's just time. There is no specific reason for it other than we would like it to be moved to another corner. We have a bus stop that goes down Green Street. You have Eagle and Green. You have Clark and Eagle. You have Clark and Grisdale. And we have done this for a long time. And it's time that this should be moved. It would be nice to have heard something from someone. And I assure you that if I wasn't here tonight, this is the first time my wife and I have ever been at a board meeting. We had no reason. We don't have any children in the school district, but we realized the responsibility that we had because obviously you pay taxes, you want to live here, that's the rules. We also were trying to be part of the community by having the bus stop. We have the seniors high school, we have middle school, we have the elementary school, and we have for 17 years. And we would just like to have it moved. But also, it would have been nice if somebody would have reached out to us. We left all the information. And if that's the case, please let us know.
Thank you. I've heard your voice and your concern, and Dr. Fetcher will have an opportunity to respond at the end of comments.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional speakers within the room? Any callers on the line, Mr. Sneed?
Not at this time.
Dr. Fetcher?
Yes, first of all, I want to respond that my understanding was that Mr. Chuck Rem reached out. He's the supervisor of transportation to you, but if that did not happen, and also as a follow-up, I'm going to ask Dr. Melkor, the assistant superintendent, to reach out to you. So, okay, that's not what I was told, but I will have Dr. Melkor reach out regardless.
Thank you. With that being said, if there's nothing further, we'll move forward with agenda item number 7. Ms. Eisenhart, can you please read the recommendation to approve the March meeting minutes?
Yes, that the Board of School Directors approves the minutes of the board meeting on March 12, 2024, and the board meeting on March 26, 2024.
Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
This is for the minutes.
Yes, sir.
They're all in order.
They're all in order. Thank you. This is a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Ms. Flanagan, thank you for making a note of that. Ms. Eisenhart, can you please read the recommendation for approval of the personnel addenda?
That the Board of School Directors approves the changes in personnel as reflected in personnel addendas number 8.1 and 8.1A and confidential addendum number 8.1B.
Second.
We have a second. Dr.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. The personnel addendum begins with a request for a leave of absence for one professional employee. It continues with compensation for curricular projects, IEP meetings, interpreter and translation service, Title IV family engagement events, tutoring, support, and auxiliary staff items. I'd like to bring your attention to the retirement of Mr. Anthony Shelton, an itinerant art teacher who has served the district for 40 years.
Yeah. Wow.
And Mr. John Weidman, a groundsman in the facilities department who has served the district for 30 years.
Wow.
Miss Dawn Wyatt, paraprofessional at Abington Middle School, who has served the district for 21 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board?
40 years.
40 years.
30 years. It's
30
beautiful.
years. That is a long time to serve the community. My children experienced an amazing art teacher. So thank you, Mr. Shelton, for your work for 40 years in Abington. We appreciate you. For the people I have not met, that's a long time to serve our district, and thank you as well. I wish the next part of your journey to be an enjoyable one. Any other questions or comments from the board?
I'd like to just say that it's very impressive. 21 years as a paraprofessional in the middle school is very impressive as well.
Yes. It really is.
Absolutely.
Middle schoolers have my heart.
Yes.
And I think the only thing we need to say is thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ms. Flanagan?
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Mrs. Hartman?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye, ayes have it and motion passes. Ms. Eisenhart, can you please read the recommendation for approval of the personnel addenda? I apologize. I was still stuck on our 40, 30 years. Can you please read the recommendation for permits of use of buildings and grounds?
Yes, that the Board of School Directors approves the applications for permits for use of buildings and grounds as reflected in addendum number 9.1. All permits are subject to change per the provisions of the health safety plan pertaining to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. The permit addendum continues to reflect requests for buildings and grounds for this time of year. I would like to bring your attention to the open house and community forums at Abington Middle School on Saturday, May 4th at 11 o'clock and Tuesday, May 7th at 6:30, which I announced at the beginning of the meeting.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Just a thank you again for the staff and community members who helped to create spaces for our students. And I do look forward to the community meetings. One is on my son's birthday. Maybe I'll bring him with me. Maybe not, but I'll be there.
Quite a present.
Pardon me?
Quite a present.
It is quite a present. Ms. Flanagan?
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Mrs. Hartman?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye, ayes have it and motion passes. Ms. Eisenhart, can you please read the recommendation for awards of contracts?
That the Board of School Directors approves the awards of contracts as reflected in addendum number 10.1.
Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Yes, there are 3 awards of contracts this evening. First is for data backup solution, and the next is for online adaptive and personalized learning programs, K through 12. This is for iReady for elementary and IXL for our middle school. And that is being paid for by ARP ESSER's funds. And the third item is for a wheelchair accessible student transportation van.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board?
Dr. Fetcher, does this, do these contract awards then exhaust the remaining ESSER's funds?
Yes, this would be the last year that we can use the ESSER's fund.
Okay.
And beyond this, if we were to continue these programs, we would have to seek another funding source.
Okay, and this correlates to the line in the budget presentation? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Any additional?
This is very loud.
Right?
Any additional questions or comments from the board?
So to piggyback on that, IXL and Curriculum Associates, like 180 something thousand plus whatever else is in ARPESSER and the other federal grants. That just, I think Dr. Mowry just asked this, but I'm asking it again so I can hear it. These things, should we want to continue, Mr. Lionetti, are represented in the budget presentation for next year? Or no? Is it?
No, this is being paid for by ESSER's funding for next budget year. So next year is the last year that we are paying for iReady and IXL with ARP ESSER's fund.
Yes, Dr. Fetcher is correct. We are required to liquidate the funds by this summer.
I understand.
And we are advance paying these for next year, so it's not reflective in the budget. The funds will be liquidated upon this purchase.
Okay.
And part of what we do, and we've spoken a little bit about this before, but I think it's important to pause and to say is that when it comes to all these programs that we put into place basically for learning loss due to COVID-19 pandemic, this is all these programs. We're doing an evaluation to see the effectiveness of the programs, to see what gaps have been successful, what areas still need work, and what programs would be beneficial to continue in the future and or replace other programs that we may have not seen such growth. So this is part of an analysis, and we have to say if we are going, once the funding runs out, if this is something that we would continue, we need the data to justify that, as well as look at our other areas, and perhaps it becomes a replacement rather than an addition.
It's an interesting situation that every district across the state and probably across the country's federal money is put in this position by this windfall of cash. And school districts and teachers and students and families get used to these resources, and then it's over, and local municipalities, school districts are left holding the bag with the difficult decision is how are we going to, we've got comfortable with using these things. I'm sure there's some things that you might decide that you want to cut, but this was millions of dollars that not just us here in Abington, but everywhere is just going to be left with real difficult decisions. And I wonder what's going to happen, because it's the whole country that got this money, is every day, so I wonder if more money's coming or not. It's just everybody looks the other way. And I'm not looking for an answer because there's no answer.
So
As long as it's not accompanied by a pandemic.
Yeah, right.
But number one, I think to your point, no,
I'm not looking for an answer.
No, we're definitely not counting on any more money coming. But I think what we have to do is look at the specific purpose of that funding was to target student learning loss during the pandemic. And we have to look at, have we made those gaps up in those areas? And did the tools or things that we use this funding for do what they were supposed to do? And now if we need to incorporate them in our normal program, something else has to give. And
that's my point.
And I think that this helps us do a very detailed analysis of the data to see what is working and things that may not have the best outcomes. And so we have to look at, to use the cliche, what bang for our buck we get.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough spot because it's like Sophie's Choice of things. Bad reference.
And as things are recommended, one thing that comes to mind are the emails I've read from parents and even public comment about IXL. So I think sharing the purpose of it, why we use it beyond just identifying the gaps, what skill sets are being practiced with that, and do we already have programming that allows us to do that? So if we do bring this back, just clearly communicating to parents and guardians why, especially since recently we've heard so much about the reading IXL. Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay. Ms. Flanagan?
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Mrs. Hartman?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye, ayes have it, and motion passes. Ms. Eisenhart, can you please read the recommendation for the approval of the 2024-2025 breakfast and lunch prices?
That the Board of School Directors establishes the following breakfast and lunch prices for the 2024-2025 school year as reflected in addendum number 11.1.
Second.
Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. We are recommending no change in meal prices for the 2024-2025 school year. The cost of lunch will remain at $2.95 for elementary students and $3.30 for students at the middle school and senior high school. The price for adult lunches will remain at $5.80 per lunch. Regarding the breakfast prices, we will maintain the prices at $1.40 for the elementary and $1.70 for breakfast at the secondary level. However, at this point, the Universal Free Breakfast Program that began on October 2022 by Governor Wolf has continued under Governor Shapiro. So there will not be a charge for breakfast.
Is that continued into next year also?
As far as we know, yes, but it's contingent on the governor's budget.
Yes, it's proposed in the governor's budget. It's being met with strong favor. We've been given direction by the state as we are out bidding services for next year, as we're coming to the end of our 5-year contract. The state's given us direction to not include prices for breakfast in the revenue statement that we prepare. Similarly, I believe I'm correct, and Dr. Milcourt can correct me, those students that qualify for reduced price lunches are also getting them free. I believe that's correct, Dr. Milcourt? Yeah.
I have a question that's slightly related and has to do with the donation from Giant. Can you share how that impacts students, whether it's lunch? How do they receive that money?
Either.
Or what does the money go towards?
The Giant money was given to us through gift cards, and we were able to share gift cards for families that fell in the free and reduced lunch category. So we were able to really help a lot of our families in ways, however they may need it in their home.
That's excellent.
And then also, I think you were referring to probably the prior time with Giant with money as well, that we had for students who did not have money for lunch and may not have qualified for free or reduced lunch.
That was one of the options, and in the last few times, the program that Dr. Rosenfeld described was, in fact, how we used it, identifying those needy families that those Giant cards went to families for total family use, not just here at school.
That is outstanding. Any additional questions or comments from the board? Ms. Flanagan?
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Mrs. Hartman?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye, ayes have it, and motion passes. Ms. Eisenhart, can you please read the recommendation for approval of the assessment appeal agreement?
That the Board of School Directors authorizes the settlement stipulation agreement regarding the assessment appeal of the property located at 261 Old York Road, Abington, Montgomery County, as submitted to the board.
Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Keeping in mind the confidentiality of litigation matters, Mr. O'Donoghue is here this evening and can answer any questions that you may have.
Questions or comments from the board? Ms. Flanagan?
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Mrs. Hartman?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye, ayes have it, and motion passes. Ms. Eisenhart, can you please read the recommendation for approval of the Uplift Solutions Agreement?
That the Board of School Directors authorizes the administration to enter into an agreement with Uplift Solutions to provide the Abington School District Community and Mentorship Program for individuals referred to Uplift.
Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. This agreement moves forward a relationship with Uplift Solutions to provide the Abington School District Community a mentorship program known as the Abington Youth Mentorship Program for individuals who are referred to Uplift by the Abington Township Police Department. This agreement is for the remainder of the school year and for the next school year as well. All mentors have received training through Uplift Solutions and have all the necessary clearances and background checks.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Ms. Flanagan?
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Mrs. Hartman?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
I will abstain for the following reasons. I do not, am not on the payroll for Uplift Solutions. However, I do sit on the advisory council, and for that reason, I will abstain from voting. Okay. Ms. Eisenhart, can you please read the recommendation for approval of the dual credit agreement?
That the Board of School Directors approves the recommendation to update memorandums of understanding with Gratz College and Arcadia University as reflected in addendum number 14.1 and modification to the 2021 to 2025 Abington Senior High School Program of Studies.
Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. The Teaching and Learning Department and I will be recommending updating of the memoranda of understanding with Gratz College, Arcadia University to expand our dual credit offerings. If approved, the 2024-25 Abington Senior High School Program of Studies will be updated to reflect the additional dual credit offerings.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? I think it is, oh, please do.
I'm sorry, I just have one quick question in these dual credit additions and modifications. These are programs at Arcadia and Gratz that are, so it's taught by their faculty, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it is a great opportunity for students, and I am pleased that we are entering into this agreement, should we all vote, or should 5 of us vote yes. Okay.
We are still working with another entity on another agreement. So as we come to terms with that, we will bring that to the board as well.
Ms. Flanagan?
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Mrs. Hartman?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye, ayes have it, and motion passes. Ms. Eisenhart, can you please read the recommendation for approval of the special education plan?
That the Board of School Directors adopt the Special Education Plan report authorized by the Board President and Superintendent of Schools and submit it to the Pennsylvania Department of Education as assurances for the operation of special education services and programs from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027.
Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Pennsylvania Department of Education requires that every 3 years, the district adopt a special education plan in the form of a special education report. This report was reviewed at our March 12th school board meeting, and it has been on public display.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? It's probably something I should have said earlier. I appreciate that it is on public display. I did notice that it wasn't a link a few days ago on the actual document, so I would just ask for future reference if the link could also be there as well for easy access. Ms. Flanagan?
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Mrs. Hartman?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye, ayes have it, and motion passes. Ms. Eisenhart, can you please read the recommendation for the confidential student matter?
That the Board of School Directors approves the confidential student matter as reflected in addendum number 16.1.
Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Keeping in mind the confidentiality of student matters, I can answer questions you may have.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Ms. Flanagan?
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Mrs. Hartman?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye, ayes have it, and motion passes. Dr. Fetcher, any other reports for this evening?
Yes, Ms. Brown, I bring to your attention the conference attendance and professional leaves, and as well as the capital improvement projects report.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Any business to be appropriately brought up from my fellow board members this evening? Okay. Hearing none, we'll go to comments from citizens. Comments from citizens are being conducted both in person and by phone. The phone number to participate in public comment is 267-715-3717 and is on the screen at this time. If you are within the room, please use the mics to the left and to the right of you and state your name and address. We'll just give the callers another moment. Thank you so much for your patience. Mr. Sneak, can you confirm that there are no callers on the line?
That is confirmed.
Thank you so much. That takes us to closing comments from my fellow board members. Mr. Allen?
Nothing, thank you.
Ms. Frazier?
It's good to be here despite my lateness. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you for your presence. Ms. Eisenhart?
No further comments.
Dr. Mowry?
Have a great evening, everyone.
Ms. Spalding?
None at this time.
Mr. Muhammad?
Good night, everyone.
Ms. Hartman?
Have a good night.
Dr. Fetcher?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. I just wanted to mention the science fair at Copper Beach. It was amazing. I learned so much from young people, and I love that. I spoke to kindergartners, first graders, second graders. I wasn't able to stick around for the older kids, but I was very impressed by our group. So well done, Copper Beach. With that being said, this meeting is adjourned.